Picture this: a black single dad, scrubbing floors in the shadows of a corporate empire, risks everything to shout a warning that stops a CEO dead in his tracks. What unfolds next is a heart-pounding saga of secrets, betrayal, and redemption that will leave you questioning who really holds the power. If you crave stories that expose hidden truths and celebrate unsung heroes, smash that subscribe button now. Join thousands across the USA and UK hooked on these electrifying narratives that turn the tables on privilege and prejudice. Don't miss out. Subscribe today. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly in the sprawling headquarters of Pinnacle Innovations, a tech conglomerate in downtown Chicago, casting a sterile glow over the polished marble floors. It was 9:47 p.m. on a frigid January evening in 2025, and the building was nearly deserted, save for the faint hum of a vacuum cleaner echoing through the 47th floor executive suite. Marcus Freeman, a 38-year-old janitor, pushed his cart through the glass-walled corridors, his calloused hands gripping the mop handle as he worked his second shift of the day. A single father to his 12-year-old daughter, Aaliyah, Marcus had been cleaning these offices for 7 years, his presence as invisible to the suits as the dust he swept away. His wiry frame, clad in a faded navy jumpsuit, moved with quiet efficiency, but his sharp eyes missed nothing. Not the whispered deals in boardrooms, not the late-night emails left open on screens, and certainly not the sleek black SUV idling ominously in the underground parking garage. Tonight, something felt off. Marcus had seen that SUV before, always parked in the same shadowed corner, its tinted windows hiding who knew what. As he emptied a trash can near the CEO's office, he overheard a tense exchange through the slightly ajar door. "It's set for tonight, 10 p.m. sharp. She won't suspect a thing." A voice hissed, low, familiar, but unplaceable. Marcus froze, his heart thudding. The voice belonged to someone high up, someone who didn't expect a janitor to be listening. He glanced at the clock. 9:50 p.m. The CEO, Vanessa Caldwell, a 45-year-old powerhouse who'd clawed her way to the top of Pinnacle through sheer brilliance, was still in her office, her silhouette visible through the frosted glass as she typed furiously. Marcus didn't know her personally. She was just another executive who never looked his way. But he'd heard rumors of her integrity, her push for diversity in a company still dominated by old money board members. Something told him she was the she in question. He hesitated, weighing his options. He was just a janitor, a black man with a rap sheet from a youthful mistake, barely scraping by to keep Aaliyah in school. Getting involved could cost him his job, or worse. But as he heard the elevator ding and saw Vanessa stride toward it, briefcase in hand, his gut screamed at him to act. He sprinted down the hall, his mop clattering to the floor. "Miss Caldwell," he shouted, his voice echoing off the glass. She turned, startled, her tailored coat half-buttoned. "Don't get in the car," Marcus yelled, breathless. Vanessa's brow furrowed, her piercing green eyes locking onto his. "Who are you? What's this about?" Before he could explain, the elevator doors closed, whisking her away to the garage. Marcus cursed under his breath and bolted for the service stairs, his sneakers pounding against the concrete. He reached the garage just as Vanessa approached the SUV, its engine purring like a predator. "Stop!" he bellowed, lunging forward. The driver's door cracked open, revealing a glint of metal, a gun. Vanessa froze, her instincts kicking in as she backed away. Marcus tackled her to the ground just as a muffled shot rang out, the bullet grazing his shoulder and embedding in a concrete pillar. Chaos erupted. Security alarms blared, and the SUV peeled out, tires screeching. Vanessa, shaken but unharmed, stared at Marcus, who was clutching his bleeding shoulder. "Why did you do that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Marcus, wincing, managed a grim smile. "Heard something I wasn't supposed to. Couldn't let you walk into it." Paramedics and police swarmed the scene, and Marcus was rushed to the hospital, his mind racing with fear, not for himself, but for Aaliyah, who'd be alone if he didn't make it. The next morning, Pinnacle's boardroom was a war zone of accusations and panic. Vanessa, now under 24/7 security, demanded answers. The board, led by Chairman Richard Langley, a silver-haired titan with a penchant for control, dismissed the incident as a random robbery attempt. But Vanessa wasn't buying it. She'd seen the look in Marcus's eyes, fear mixed with certainty, and she trusted it more than the board's platitudes. She visited Marcus in the hospital, his arm bandaged, his face etched with exhaustion. "You saved my life," she said, sitting by his bed. "Tell me what you heard." Marcus hesitated, knowing the stakes. "They said it was set for 10 p.m., something about you not suspecting. It came from your office floor." Vanessa's jaw tightened. She'd been battling the board for months over her push to expose Pinnacle's shady offshore accounts. Accounts tied to illegal data harvesting that could ruin the company's reputation. She suspected someone wanted her silenced. "You're not just a janitor, are you?" she asked, noting his sharp gaze. Marcus chuckled weakly. "Just a dad trying to keep the lights on. But I hear things, see things. People like me? We're invisible to you all." Vanessa leaned forward. "Not anymore. I want you on my team. Help me find out who's behind this." Marcus blinked, stunned. A job offer from the CEO? It was surreal, but he saw the sincerity in her eyes. "I'm in," he said, "but only if you promise to protect my daughter." Vanessa nodded. "Deal." What followed was a whirlwind of covert investigation. Marcus, now officially a consultant to avoid suspicion, used his knowledge of the building's nooks and crannies to uncover clues. He found a burner phone hidden in a vent near the executive suite, its call log linking to a private security firm with ties to Langley. The first twist hit when Vanessa discovered that Langley wasn't just a greedy chairman. He was her estranged uncle, who'd been siphoning company funds to cover personal debts. He'd orchestrated the attack to scare her into dropping her audit, fearing exposure. But Marcus dug deeper, accessing deleted security footage with the help of a hacker friend from his old neighborhood. The footage revealed a second conspirator, Elena Torres, Pinnacle's CFO, who'd been promised a cut of the offshore profits. Elena, a polished executive who'd publicly championed Vanessa, was a traitor hiding in plain sight. The betrayal stung, but Vanessa was relentless. She and Marcus set a trap, leaking a fake memo about a whistleblower meeting to flush out the culprits. The plan worked. Elena and Langley showed up at a staged warehouse rendezvous, only to be caught on camera confessing their roles. But the second twist was darker. The SUV's driver wasn't a hired thug, but a disgraced ex-cop, hired by Langley to plant evidence framing Marcus as the mastermind. The plot was meant to discredit both Vanessa and Marcus, painting the attack as a janitor's extortion scheme gone wrong. With the evidence in hand, Vanessa confronted the board in a dramatic showdown, streaming the confession live to shareholders. Langley and Elena were arrested, and Pinnacle stock plummeted as the scandal broke. Marcus, hailed as a hero, was offered a permanent role as head of corporate security, but he had bigger dreams. Using a settlement from a lawsuit against the company for endangering him, he started a foundation to fund STEM education for kids like Aaliyah in underserved communities. The third twist came months later. A cryptic email from an anonymous source revealed that Pinnacle's offshore accounts were linked to a global cybercrime ring, implicating other corporations. Vanessa, now mentoring Marcus as he pursued a degree in cybersecurity, teamed up with him to expose the network, turning Pinnacle into a force for ethical tech reform. But shadows lingered. Threats from the crime ring forced Marcus to relocate Aaliyah temporarily, and a mole within Pinnacle leaked their plans, nearly derailing the investigation. In a heart-stopping climax, Marcus thwarted an attempt on Vanessa's life during a keynote speech, using his janitorial knowledge to spot a tampered stage light rigged to fall. The company rallied behind them, and the crime ring's leaders were brought down in an FBI sting. Years later, Marcus stood at Aaliyah's college graduation, now a cybersecurity expert himself, while Vanessa, semi-retired, watched proudly as her protege reshaped the industry. The final twist? The anonymous emailer was Aaliyah, who'd secretly learned coding and uncovered the cybercrime link while interning at Pinnacle. Marcus's journey from invisible janitor to industry trailblazer proved that courage, not status, defines power. Pinnacle's headquarters, once a cold corporate fortress, now hosted community tech workshops,